We just about got it. Thank you, Ben.
Hi.
Okay, go ahead. Ben, may as well just say hi. Hello. Hi. Okay, you're done now. Ben loves doing the lives. We'll have to do another one in a little bit. Okay, so I think we're just going to go ahead and get started. I'll go ahead and I'll move my phone over. That's always fun to give you a little ride. All right, so today I just got this stencil from Brutus Monroe that is really fun. Christopher Allen demonstrated it on his channel on YouTube not too long ago, and it is just a lot of fun. So let me just show you what we're working with.
Sylvia's on.
Hi, Sylvia. And this was called Lantern, right, Darren?
What?
It's called Lanterns?
It's called slimline hanging lanterns.
Hanging Lanterns. Okay. So I've got this slimline stencil. It's called Hanging Lanterns. And the fun thing that I really like about this stencil is I like that it also comes with all the little negative cutouts too, which we are going to use today in our design. So the first thing I'm going to do is
on.
Thressa. Hi, Thressa. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put these, actually let's put this down first. Let's move these guys over. And I do have a little bit of Pixie Spray on this. If you're not familiar with Pixie Spray, it is really cool. It's great for when you want to do some stenciling.
Emily and Raylyn are also watching.
What was that?
Emily and Raylyn are also watching.
Hi, Emily and Raylyn. We're just going to put a little bit of this Pixie Spray on here, just to make sure we have plenty on there. And this will make this stencil stay in place. I want to let it dry a tiny bit, but not too much. So we'll go ahead and we will stick that to our paper. And now we want to attach these little guys. And I'm not sure if it'll hold them well enough, but we can try it. Let's try let's find out. No time like the present to find out if these stick with these little guys too. So I'm going to put them all. I used glue dots on them on the first time around that I made this card, which you will see at the end. So I used, there's a little residue left on there from the glue dots, so I can at least see which side I need to spray. Okay. We'll let that kind of sit for a second. All right. So we're just going to pop those into their spots. I think that's going to work out well. If not, you'll get to see what happens live. And then we're just going to mess with this. Hi, Donna. Okay, so you're probably wondering what we're doing next here, but we needed to have the outside of our stencil lined up so that we would know where to put these guys, because they're gonna be left on there for this first bit. Okay, so now that those guys are all secure, we're gonna take this top one off, and we will be bringing him back. We may actually need more spray in a minute, but for now.
Dawn asked if this is the stencil of the month.
This is not. This is a newer stencil though. This is called Hanging Lanterns. The stencil of the month, I can actually show you because he's shown it now. This is the stencil of the month, and I think it's called Pinwheels, but I'm not completely sure. I know that he was thinking of pinwheels when he did it. You can see that they look like that. So yeah, this looks like a really fun one. I haven't had a chance to play with it yet, but this is what it looks like. So now you have a little sneak peek. I can show you the die of the month too if I've got it handy. I thought I did. Oh yeah, I do. There it is. And this is the die of the month. It's called Lace Gate. Isn't that gorgeous? I'll be playing with that later today. But back to this one. This one, like I said, is called Hanging Lanterns. And so what we're going to do, oh, I've got my glue dots out. We didn't need to use them, so that's good. We are going to use some Simon Hurley ink. I know that's a shock because I haven't been using a lot of that lately, right? And I've got these 4 colors to start with. We will start, actually I might do that one after. Let's start with our Clear Skies. And we're going to use, remember these amazing blending brushes that I use all the time? We are going to continue that tradition. And I cleaned them off a little earlier and it's still just a little bit wet, so I just want to dry it off a little bit more. Just to make sure, this cloth is actually a dry cloth, so it's meant more for that. And the other one is the microfiber cloth, which doesn't, you know, I didn't think that much of it, but I will tell you that I love the way it cleans. It works so great with the Squeaky Clean. All right, and I know that there are some new Squeaky Clean scents coming out soon. So if you want to get the summer ones, then you need to act fast because they are running out quickly. My favorite of those is the Blue Slushy. Okay, and I'll just check this one while I'm at it. This one's drier. Okay. All right, so we are going to use both of these today. I just want to make absolutely sure that that's dry. Okay, so we're going to start with our Clear Skies. And we are just going to lightly go around our lanterns.
Cheryl says hi.
Hi, Cheryl. And I do not like using these when they're wet because it does kind of affect the color. So bear with me on this. I didn't give them quite enough time to dry, it looks like. But we'll see. Hi, Seal. So yeah, I'm not liking what I'm getting here, and it's because my brush is wet. So bear with me for just a second, and we'll move on to this one. Oh, you will love the Squeaky Clean. I have not used a stamp cleaner I like better than that. That is for sure. And they smell so good. What scent did you order? All right, so I'm not really loving the color. I have to be honest. This is definitely live. We got kind of a little bit muddy. Let me see what happens when I dry it a little bit. If I'd been smart, I would have just dried my brush a little bit with this. And usually I don't have really any trouble with the colors muddying, but because I kind of brought all the colors out, I was kind of giving it a good clean. So I brought all the colors to the surface, and it's been hanging there for a second. So everything kind of ran to the end, if that makes sense. Because when you store them in one of these little guys, and it's like this.
Cinnamon and beach.
Oh, the cinnamon bear is my favorite. And the beach breeze is really good too. You'll like it. Okay, so I think we'll go ahead and go from there. And then we will use some of our Crown Me. Now you want to go a little darker under the lanterns and just kind of in the areas where the light, we're doing a night sky, right? So you want to kind of think about where the light's going to hit the brightest and where you'd see more of the night. The night sky creeping in there. And yeah, it really does make a difference if your brush is dry or wet. So there's a tip of what not to do. I am full of those. So tune in anytime to get some of those, because I will likely tell you them as I do them. All right, so we don't want to go quite as dark right near the lantern, because that's where the most light would be, right? All right, we'll get a little more in here. Just gonna lightly go over. I already have more color right next to the lantern than I actually wanted, but hey, we might end up with a whole new cool thing. And once again, I'll just say what I always say, and that's, if we're out, what are we out? We're just out maybe a piece of cardstock, right? All right. Okay, so yeah, this would be blending much better if I had used a drier brush. I just want to give a little hint of the purple throughout the panel. I think we've got that pretty well covered. We'll move on to the next color, which is Midnight Snack. This is one of Simon Hurley's newest colors. We're just kind of add a little more blue to this. And these little pieces are not really moving around. I'm really liking how the Pixie Spray is holding them for me. And I'm sure Darren's got a link to that going on.
Yep.
And as always, I'd like to thank Darren for moderating for me. Makes my job so much easier. And let's do some up here. So, is everybody's school starting tomorrow? I know Benji's starting. His online school is tomorrow. It's going to be interesting to see all the different ways people start school this year, huh? See how things go. It's not your typical school year, that's for sure. All right. So this one looks, when I show you the one that I did originally, you'll see this one looks a lot different, but I actually don't mind it. I think it's kind of cool. It's got its own.
Patty Murray says hello.
Well, hi Patty. How you doing? All right. I think we should go on to the next step. So now let's see what all of these look like. And like I said, I would have liked to have not gotten quite that harsh line, but such is life, right? And such is life when you're doing a live every time. All right, so we've got, and I will note that I do have a little bit of residue here. So when you do use the Pixie Spray, you probably want to be aware of that. And I'm not sure how that's going to affect our design. That's what I was kind of afraid of, and that's why I said let's find out together, and that's what we've done. And that is just the way it is. I was trying to see if I could just rub it off. If you have a little adhesive eraser, I do have one of those, and I may just use that really quick. My cup that I keep it in is so full that I have to take some stuff out to get to it. Hang on one sec, sorry. Okay, so this is an adhesive eraser, and honestly, it's gonna take it right off. So if you wanna go ahead and use the Pixie Spray, you can use your little adhesive eraser with it.
Patty's happy to finally catch you live.
Oh, I'm glad you're here. Thank you. That took it all off. I don't feel anything. So this is a really handy tool. I forget I have it sometimes. So we'll just, I'm not going to do every single one of these lanterns just because, in the interest of time, I don't want to do all the same thing over and over for you. So do you want to do just these two? Maybe we'll do this one too. I don't know. Let's just kind of see how it goes. I'm game for whatever. All right, I think we got all of that one off. That one wasn't as bad. That first one had a lot on it. And this one's just about off. Okay, I have to tell you a funny story about this one. And you'll never be able to look at it the same, which is my only hesitation, but I think it's funny, so I'm going to tell you anyway. So the second lantern, somebody pointed out when Christopher was doing his, that it looks like a particular character. Can you see that? Especially if you like sci-fi. Well, now here's another thing I'm doing for you guys. See, I'm taking all the bullets for you. Be careful not to erase where you don't want to erase, but it's going to be okay. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take, this is Over the Moon. We'll set this guy to the side because I need to clean him. And we will use our other blender with that. Just double check it's dry since we had so much fun with that last one, right? Okay, almost got it. I think we just about have it. Okay.
Rebecca says hello.
Well, hi, Rebecca. Okay, so we've got our Over the Moon ink now with our brush, and we're just going to go over what we've already done. And if you want to avoid dealing with the adhesive that I was erasing before, you can just, I roll a little glue dot on my fingers so it's not super sticky, but it still sticks enough. And I think I actually prefer that method in some ways, just because I don't have all of this extra texture that I don't know if I want yet. So to avoid that in the future, if you want to redo something like this technique, that would be a way to avoid that. All right, I think we have enough yellow on there, maybe a little bit more down at the bottom over here. Okay, and yeah, we want to go all the way around because we're going to go over this with other colors too, but we want the yellow to kind of go right around it.
Helen says hi.
Helen?
Yep.
Hi, Helen. Okay, so we've got our sky basically set up. Now we're going to take our stencil that we had on it in the first place, and we're going to replace that. Because now we've got our lanterns lit, but we want to give them a little more personality. Okay, so I think we've more or less got that in the right spot. And I'm going to take some of my purple tape, and I'm just going to tape that down, mostly because I saw that this edge had a little bit, the stencil didn't line up exact, and just to keep it in place a little bit. It's just a little more convenient when you're working with it. And who did?
Kathy.
Hi, Kathy. So first we'll take these ones off for a second just to make our blending easier, we'll just cover these guys up so that we don't have to worry about avoiding them. I should tell you that they have another size of this now. There's a smaller one, which would be a little easier to work with when working with a stencil like this, but we work with what we've got, right? Okay, so we're going to next use Triple Berry.
Lori says hello from North Idaho.
Hi, Lori. And we are going to get some of our ink on there and just blend right over the top. Now again, our colors and this is kind of a funny project. This is, so far we've had some interesting bumps in our road. But when you use this with the background being dry in the first place, with the brush I mean, and without the little residue, you have a little more control, and I will show you. But we want to kind of give it a little bit of shading. So we're gonna make the bottom a little bit darker and maybe the side a little bit. And now it looks more like it's just a lit lantern that we're seeing through that paper that it's made out of. And now we'll just go ahead and do these other two. And you know, just to give it more variety, you can decide how much ink you want to use. They don't all need to be the same depth, right? And so this one, we'll go a little darker around here too. Maybe just the very tips, a little darker, where the light's not quite as bright. All right. And now we'll move on to our last one in this color. I think this one's my favorite shape of them. I didn't even notice I was wearing kind of a kimono-y thing today. That kind of was unplanned, but it kind of works, huh? My sister gave it to me. She's so good to me. And it's the first time I've worn it. We'll get a little bit more on this side. All right, I think we will call those ones good. And now let's get these two that we missed. And we'll just use that same tape just to cover up the ones that are nearby. Looks like we might need to anchor those down a little bit more. I'm getting low on this. Thankfully, I have a backup, just in case. Okay, so now let's use Prom Queen to do these two. And make sure I get the right one. Okay. So this is a brighter, cheerier kind of pink. That one's kind of a more muted one. Now we've got our more like fuchsia one. Who said that? Lori, this is amazing. Do you have one of these brushes? This is like my favorite tool ever. It's definitely a game changer. All right, so this tape is basically useless if you don't have it sticky. And I am using a lot of ink and stuff, so I'm sure I got it too wet. All right, so we've got the base color down pretty well. And then I want to go in and just get a little bit more depth in a couple of areas. So I'm just going to use for that just this little dauber. I want to use a little bit more of this Prom Queen, and I'll just come in just along the bottom right here, maybe a little bit right there, trying not to get the other lantern. And then maybe we'll put a little bit along the top of this guy. We'll assume that the light's a little lower in the lantern. We'll get a little bit down closer to the bottom too. All right, and then we'll just use the other side of the dauber. And let's use a little bit of the Crown Me, and we'll do, I just want to do like the tassel at the bottom. I think that will work. And
she said no, she's using the brush.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's Pink and Maine makes it. Burtis Monroe does have it on their site. Darren, I'm sure, has put up the link. But it is so easy to use, and it is, honestly, it's a pleasure to use. It blends your stuff so easily. Okay, I think we're good on those. So now we will add just a little bit more personality to these, because usually when you see paper lanterns, they're not usually solid colors. They've got some fun patterns on them. So we are going to use this stamp set. Let me find it. This is called Inked Flowers, and you can see it's got a ton. And we're going to use some of these littler guys to make some patterns on our lanterns. So I think first we'll go ahead on this one. I'm just mostly, to start with, going to create some texture to the background. I'm not going to try to make it look exactly like leaves. I'm just going to try to give it some texture. So it doesn't even matter. I'm just stamping over and over again. And it's about the easiest thing ever on this one. Might need just a little bit more right through the bottom. I feel like I need one right there. Okay, so that one, we'll let that dry for a minute. And then let me see if I use this color on any others. It looks like I might have used it on this guy. So we need this flower. And we are going to just add a little pattern to this one. And I like that the pattern comes out kind of subtle because the lights are on, right? So you are mostly drawn to the light. This is Game Over that I'm using right now, and we're going to use it with this little leaf. And we're just going to do, this one's a little more, you could probably stamp this off, but I don't know that I want to take the time. So I'm just going to do one little, so that one's a little bolder, but that's all right. And let's do Prom Queen. Just have to figure out where I left that one. There we go. We will do some Prom Queen on this guy. Oops. Let's see. I always hate to try to double stamp, but it wouldn't be alive if I didn't mess up a little bit.
Has to go. She's got migraine happening.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Donna. I hope you're feeling better. Must be a hot day there today. I know that that makes it worse. Okay, so now we are going to use our Clear Skies, and we're just going to use this little leaf and quickly make a pattern on this one. And again, I'm just messing with it, so you can use whatever you want, but I just thought these worked out well for this particular idea of mine, I thought. So I think that's pretty good. We could do one more little bit. Okay, and lastly, let's add this little, I guess they're berries, and Crown Me. We'll add those to this one that's kind of a crazy pattern. And then I can show you what this looks like, and we can add, I can show you what we did for the last little bits of detail to make this come together. Does anybody have any questions so far? Kind of got lost in my creating. Oh, okay, wait. I do have another step. So we're gonna go ahead and peel this off again. You're gonna feel like we're just kind of crazy in our back and forth. I actually skipped a step. You can do it before you do what I did here, but thankfully we can still do it now. So we're just going to put these guys back on. Because I want to add a little bit more to our sky. And we're just going to add just a little bit more texture to our background. So we'll get our little pan back out. And then I used, this is so pretty. This I think is my favorite Aqua pigment. It's Grape, and it's got this metallic shimmer to it. I don't know if you can see that, but it is gorgeous. So we're just going to use a little of that with a paintbrush. But only if I can open the bottle, which might be a question. I really should open these before I even start, then I wouldn't have to make you wait for me. Okay, I may do that next time. And I'll just grab my little paintbrush. And it doesn't have to be super wet, but just wet enough that you can drip a little bit. We're just gonna flick that because we want it to look festive, like it's a celebration. And I like the way it looks against the lighter parts of the card. I think it looks cool. Hope everybody is staying well and staying safe. It's nice to hear that the numbers are starting to go down. What do you think? I think we'll put one more little, I really like this Aqua pigment. I'm telling you, I have to control myself because I really could go crazy with it. So we've got all of that on there. Let's set that aside. And then let's add a little bit of gold. So the one that I used was an Aqua Pigment of the Month, which if you enjoy the Aqua Pigments, I highly suggest that club. It's so much fun. There's so many great colors in this collection. And this one is Golden Wheat, and I don't know that it's available anymore, but I liked the little bit darker gold. Gilded is also very pretty. And I know Darren put the link to that one up. And you can actually get all of the metallics that are like your basics in a set. Let's see. I think we're getting everywhere but where I'm trying to get. Do you do that? It's like you have to kind of guess where it's going to flick. And sometimes I'm better at that than other times. Okay. So let's dry that a little bit. And you don't want to dry the top of your stencils for very long because they'll warp, but I'm just drying it enough that when I go to take them off that they're not going to smear all over me. So I just wanted to dry them a little bit. So let's take these guys off.
Lori says she's enjoying this technique.
It's a fun one, huh? You have to think backwards for a lot of it, and that's kind of a fun challenge. You know, the ironic thing is I was not really happy about the darkness around the lanterns, but I do like that it defines them just a little bit more. And I will show you both cards and the card panels anyway, and you can judge for yourself. I'll show you the one I first did. Remember when I didn't want to smear that? Did I manage? I didn't do too bad. Okay, and we'll see if I can get that one off. All right, so I actually think I might like this one better. Isn't that nice? Don't you love that when you are struggling with something and it's looking like you're not too sure about it, but then in the end you kind of like it better? Better than you thought you would? That is one of my favorites, for sure. Okay, so this panel, I will just leave the way it is since we're running out of time now. But this is the card that I created.
Rebecca says she loves this card.
Isn't this a fun one? I should turn around so you can see them. So this was the first one that I did, and it, you know, it's all dry and it's been a little while, but I think this one has definitely got more color in it, and I'm kind of digging this one more. But I don't mind this one either. I think that they both are really fun. And you can see I've added some strings. I added some gold accents.
Get close to the camera.
I'll do this so you can kind of see. I just used some gold gel pen. And then I actually got some colored pencils and just very faintly drew lines so that it would kind of give that, the illusion of the lines in your lantern. So yeah, just little touches here and there. Added a little bling on there. And I had this sentiment called Be the Light. It's in a retired set, but if you have Spring Wreath from Brutus Monroe, then you've got that. So yeah, not too shabby. I think that it turned out, I think I like this one, this darker one. So I'll have to finish this one too. This is probably the one I'll post. Just take a little marker. And I actually used the gold next to it too. And don't worry about if your lines are straight because, you know, the wind blows, all kinds of things. You don't have to worry because they're not always straight, right? And then let's just see how it starts looking when you put a little bit of, just a little bit of trim. You don't even have to do a whole lot, but it just adds a little more to your card. And this one's great because it's pretty flat. You don't have to put these on if you don't want to. If you didn't want to and you wanted to have something kind of flat you could send in the mail easily, this would be a great card for that. We'll just add a little bit of, if I can get this to work. I'm having all kinds of fun today. Well, we'll get my gel pen working here. There we go. And we'll put a little bit right there. And maybe one across the top. So I'm guessing nobody had any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and flip the phone up so I can see you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had so much fun crafting with you, and I hope you enjoyed this card and this technique, and I hope that you'll join me again next week. It'll either be Tuesday or Wednesday. I will for sure let you know. Usually I do them on Wednesdays, but like I said, I had something going on, and I just started another job, so I've got a different schedule, and tomorrow's my first day, so then I'll know better what my schedule will look like next week. So I will let you know right away when I know. So thank you again, and take care and stay safe. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.